Imagine a bright, sunny day in London, 1750. A crowd of 50,000 souls laughing, munching on pies, swigging ale, all gathered round the gallows. This isn't a festival, it's an execution. But why does it feel like a fairground? And what dark secret does the masked hangman carry? Stay with me. This will change the way you see the past forever. In Georgian London, executions at Tyburn weren't merely justice. They were grand spectacles, the so-called hanging fair. Preparations began weeks in advance. Judges handed down sentences under the bloody code. Steal a loaf of bread or forge a check, and you could swing for it. The condemned, anywhere from 10 to 20 at a time, were held in Newgate, where the wealthy among them paid for better cells rather than rotting in the dungeons below. The night before, clergymen heard their confessions, while jailers sold printed last dying speeches, often complete fabrications for the crowd's entertainment. Come morning came the procession. The condemned rode in open carts, flowers in their hats, stopping at taverns along the way to down gin with the mob cheering them on. The spectators waited eagerly for the show. Hawkers lit fires to roast meat. Charlatans peddled magic charms against the noose. The gentry hired balconies for guineas. But at the heart of it all stood the hangman, often a former felon himself, pardoned in exchange for taking on the filthy trade. In the 1750s, it might have been Jack Ketch's successor, or John Thrift. Despised by all, they earned a miserable 13 shillings per job, plus whatever tips the condemned pressed into their hands for a clean death. The hangman prepared in secret, sharpening his knife, testing the ropes, sometimes drinking heavily to dull his conscience. Beneath all the merriment, something sinister was brewing. What if not everyone died quickly? Arrival at Tyburn was the climax. The triple tree stood on the hill, visible for miles. The condemned delivered their speeches, "I repent of my sins," though many were invented purely for amusement. Then the hangman stepped forward, masked to shield his face from revenge. The crowd loathed him. "Bloody dog," they shouted, pelting him with rotten fruit. Yet he was the key to the performance. He bound their wrists, pulled the white cap over the head, slipped the noose around the neck. The wealthy ones slipped him coins. "Make it quick, mate," hoping for a short drop to snap the neck cleanly. But hangmen were frequently clumsy. Too long a rope, and the victim jerked and strangled in agony. Recall Jack Ketch himself. His name became a byword for a botched hanging. Then came the drop. The cart was pulled away, bodies dangled, twitching in the dance of death. It was rarely instant. They strangled for 10 to 20 minutes, while the hangman stood aside, calmly smoking his pipe. The crowd feasted. Meat pies, hanging swords made from pieces of the rope sold as souvenirs. Children played, sweethearts kissed, pickpockets worked the throng. An execution was a carnival, with the stench of death underneath. Women wept for the handsome highwaymen, as though they were tragic heroes. But here's the secret. Friends of the condemned sometimes tugged at their legs to hasten the end, or did the hangman do it for a discreet bribe? And what happened afterwards? Afterwards came chaos. The bodies hung for an hour, then the hangman cut them down, his final duty. But here is the secret they kept for centuries. The surgeons, anatomists, bought the corpses for 5 guineas to dissect in their lectures. Friends of the dead fought them off to save the body from the knife. Sometimes a body would revive, the noose hadn't quite done the job, and mercy was granted, or did the hangman quietly finish the job in the shadows? In 1783, they shut down the Tyburn Fair, moving executions to the door of Newgate. Too many riots, too many deaths in the crush. Yet the spirit of Tyburn lingers. Bones are still found beneath Marble Arch to this day. This wasn't simply an execution, it was a ritual of society, where death became entertainment and the hangman its cursed performer. Would you have gone to such a fair? Subscribe to uncover more dark secrets of London. The next tale is even darker.